You see these huge headlines, some major conflict happening thousands of miles away, and it's easy to think, okay, so what does that actually have to do with me? Well, it turns out it might have everything to do with you, right down to the price of your groceries. So let's trace that connection and see exactly how these distant events can hit so close to home.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. This isn't some abstract theory. It's the reality of the world we live in. When the big players on the world stage have a falling out, that fallout doesn't just stay put. Oh no, it travels, and it travels fast. It goes from a news alert on your phone straight to the money in your wallet. So, how does this actually work in the real world? Let's take a look at a specific case study from our source material, the 2026 Iran conflict. We're going to use this one example to map out the entire chain of events, from that initial spark all the way down to your personal budget. Okay, so it all begins with what we can call the global shockwave. This is that first moment, the initial event in just one part of the world that kicks off a massive worldwide chain reaction. Now, according to the source material, this particular conflict kicked off with some pretty large-scale military action, which was then followed by retaliation across the region. The specifics of the fighting aren't what we're focused on here. What's absolutely crucial for us is this moment. This is the trigger. It's the very first domino that gets knocked over, setting everything else in motion. And you can see that chain reaction laid out perfectly here. A conflict like this, it just doesn't happen in a bubble. Right away, it puts a ton of pressure on vital shipping lanes and commercial routes. Global energy markets, which absolutely thrive on stability, are suddenly thrown into total chaos. And the immediate result of all that turmoil? A sharp, sudden surge in global oil prices. That price surge, that's the key that connects this huge global event to the next part of our story. All right, so oil prices are way up. Now, why is that one little piece of data so important? Well, it's because that global price hike is about to start a ripple effect that's going to find its way right into your budget. This is the part where the abstract headlines start to get very real. This really shows just how deep that impact goes. See, higher oil prices don't just mean you're paying more to fill up your car. Think about it for a second. Almost everything we buy has to be transported from somewhere, right? So when transport costs go up, so does the price of food, packages, pretty much all the essentials. It's a cascade that just flows right through the entire economy. And this is exactly where regular people start to feel that squeeze. Higher fuel costs lead directly to more expensive groceries. That global instability can start to weaken the local currency, which makes anything that's imported suddenly cost a whole lot more. And if you run a small business, forget about it. This kind of uncertainty makes it almost impossible to plan ahead, to hire new people, or to invest in the future. It's just pressure coming at you from every single direction. So when you add all this up, it creates this fundamental change in how daily life actually feels. It's not just about the numbers on a page. It's about the economic world we all have to live in. It's the difference between feeling secure and feeling like you're constantly on edge. This comparison really gets to the heart of it all. In a stable economy, life feels, well, affordable and predictable. You've got a pretty good idea of what things are going to cost next week or next month. But in an unstable economy, one that's been shaken up by conflict, everything just feels expensive and totally unpredictable. You never quite know what your next trip to the grocery store or the gas station is going to set you back. That constant uncertainty, that is the real bottom line for most of us. So, after all that, what's the big takeaway here? It's really a simple but incredibly powerful idea. Nothing happens in a vacuum anymore. There is a deep, unbreakable link between what happens on the world stage and the reality of our daily lives. This whole phenomenon we've been talking about, it actually has a name. It's called the geopolitical ripple effect. It's a pretty straightforward concept, but a powerful one. A single event, kind of like a stone tossed into a pond, creates these ripples that spread out far and wide, and eventually they reach every single shore, including yours. And that leaves us with one last question to think about. The next time you see a major geopolitical event in the news, think about what we just went through. Think about that chain reaction, that ripple effect, and ask yourself, where am I going to feel this impact first? Will it be at the pump, in the grocery aisle, or somewhere else I haven't even thought of? Because now you know, it's not really a question of if you'll feel it, but where.